Hey, what's up guys, and welcome in this new tutorial where I'm gonna show you 7 different transition ideas for your productions. So before starting, I would like to remind you that all of the samples from this project are from our new pack called Bamboleo, which is an Afro House collection of one-shots, loops, construction kits and much more. So before we dive into the tutorial, let's have a listen to the track that we're gonna use. So it's a really basic Afro House track where we have the vocal, piano, chord progression, synth, and then some drums. So we are gonna talk about different types of transition between the break and the drop, and also some transition in this part here between the drop part 1 and the drop part 2. So let's start from the build-up, and we're gonna start with probably the most common technique, which is snare roll. So to do that, we're gonna create a MIDI track. We're gonna go in the Bamboleo sample pack and select a snare. Something like this, and then we're gonna create a pattern here, so like this, and we're gonna duplicate it throughout the entire MIDI clip like this. So once we've done that, this is the result. Sounds a bit boring and basic, so what we're gonna do is gonna be selecting the pencil tool, then we're gonna hold the option and we're gonna create this automation of the velocity so that it sounds like this. As you can hear, the snare are getting harder and harder when we go towards the end of the build-up. Then we're gonna add a filter automation to the snare, so like this. Like this. What we can also do here is pitch bend automation. So we're gonna go here in the envelopes and select MIDI control and pitch bend, and we can create the automation in the last 2 bars, for example. So it goes like this. Another way that we can use snares as a transition is, for example, in this part where we go from the initial drop section to the second drop section. And what we can do here is create a snare fill. So we're gonna add the MIDI track once again. We're gonna maybe select a different snare. Something like this. We're gonna create a MIDI clip here, and we're gonna write a basic pattern. Let's go with something like this, for example. Let's change the sample. We can also put it at the end of this 4-bar section. Yeah, maybe it gets a bit too repetitive, so we're gonna only keep it at the end of the 8 bars, like this. As for the next transition idea, we are still gonna be here in the build-up area, and we're gonna use a reverse percussion hack. So what we're gonna do, we can pick whatever kind of drum sound and percussion you want. We're gonna do different examples. Let's do one with an open hat. So we're gonna simply take the open hat, we're gonna put it here, and we're gonna feed it to the grid like this, and we're gonna reverse it. So as you can hear, we get this extra uplifting effect here right before we go into the drop. Another thing that we can do here is use a clap. So we're gonna put the clap here. Then what we're gonna do is gonna be adding some reverb. Like this. We're gonna create a new audio track and we're gonna set this one to resampling, and we're gonna record the clap. Okay, so now that we have this very reverbed clap, we're gonna remove the reverb from the original one, and we're gonna reverse this and put it into a new track. Like this. Maybe we have to remove these final bits here. And this is how it sounds. So this is the result of the clap together with the reverse effect. So as for the next idea, we can still be talking about a reverse reverb effect, but this time we're gonna do it on the piano. So what we're gonna do is duplicate the piano track. We're gonna keep only the first note here. Make it a bit shorter, like this. Remove everything, add the reverb. Gonna still have the resampling track here. So we have once again our reverb piano. So we're gonna cut this one and put it here, and we're gonna remove piano with the reverb. Let's reverse it. Like this. So obviously you can do that for every element, also for the synth, or if you have a vocal here as well, but for the piano is kind of the main element in this track, so it makes sense to do this effect with the piano. Here on this riser there are a couple of things that you can do. Obviously you can do filter automation, but you can also add an auto pan, for example, to add some movement. So like this. Moving on, we are still gonna work on the build-up section, and we're gonna talk about riser and pitch bend effects. So there are a few things that we can do here. The first one is very simple, and it's a basic riser. So we're gonna take the note here from the synth, and we're gonna make it all the way through the build-up, and we're gonna add a serum here. So we're gonna use our Afro House serum preset pack called Yuma. I'm gonna select a lead. So something like this. What we want to do is change the pitch range here to 12, and then we're gonna go back to the MIDI clip in the envelope section, MIDI control and pitch bend, like this. Obviously you want to pair it with the filter automation.
One lingo,
this. Perfect. So you can do that, or if you have a synth similar to this one, you can do the pitch bend automation directly on the synth. So we're gonna go into Serum and once again change the pitch bend to 12, and we're gonna do the same thing here. Maybe we can only do it in the final section here of the synth. Yeah, now we have the pitch bend automation, which is carried on into the other part of the synth as well. So let's fix that. So this kind of transition doesn't fit that well with this track, so we might just keep the riser effect only, but this can be a possibility if you are producing a style that requires this kind of transition. Now the final transition idea for the build up and breakdown area is the filter automation. So we can do that on the master channel directly or on the single elements. We're gonna do that on the master channel. So the first one is to do a low cut filter. So let's do a quick automation here so that we can remove the low frequencies before going into the drop. Like this, but we can also cut the top frequencies, for example. This is more doable on a single track or instrument. Usually you can do it on the drums, but since we don't have drums here, we are gonna try it with the piano. So we're gonna do something like this. It doesn't really fit this type of track, but you get the idea. Usually it works well with the drums or some other elements that have a lot of high frequencies. Now let's move forward to the last two transition ideas, and this will be about the transition here inside of the drop or from the drop into the breakdown. So the first one is very straightforward and is to remove some elements. So let's do a quick example here. So as you can hear, just by removing one kick, we are getting a very different effect. Like this. We can also remove the bass line, for example. Or we can remove all of the drums. So here it really depends on the track, but I think that for this type of song we can just leave the kick here, or alternatively we can put the vocal and remove everything and just leave the vocal. So this can be also another option. So let's do something like this, and then we can cut everything. Like this. And the final transition idea is really simple once again, and it's reverb automation. So since we've cut all of the elements here, we don't have any drums to do it with, but we can actually maybe do it here later on. So as for this part, I'm gonna show it on the synth itself. So since we have quite a bit of reverb here on in the processing of the synth, we can just automate this one, I think. So we have the verb wet here. Let's do something like this, really basic. Okay, so since I want to show you this on the drums as well, we're gonna group them and we're gonna add the reverb, and we're gonna do it here in this final part of the drop. So yeah, basically these are the 7 transition ideas for your production. So now we're gonna have a listen to the track with all of the transitions that we made. Yeah, and basically that's all for this tutorial. Don't forget to check out Bamboleo from the link in the description below. Let us know what tutorials would you like to see next, and I'll see you soon. Bye!